And I see Erica's here as well. You know, Chair, in the interest of time, let's just start. And I know people are going to start bittering. And
very good.
Yeah.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Youth Services Committee meeting. We have a full agenda, so I'd like to call our meeting to order at 10:33 a.m. My name is Tui Scanlon, chair of this committee. I would also like to acknowledge our vice chair, Carla Kurokawa.
Morning.
This is a public meeting under the open meeting law. The committee members and public guests are viewing in Zoom, and we have staff at the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations office, room 317, in case members and guests wish to meet at an on-site location. To start the meeting and to document in the minutes, I will ask members and guests to introduce themselves with name and organization. Let's start with Executive Director.
Bennett Misalucha, Executive Director, Workforce Development Council. I'll turn it over to Carla.
Carla Kurokawa, Youth Committee Vice Chair. I'm with Alulike. Good morning.
Good morning. Let's go to our WDC staff. Evan Palmer, please.
Hi, I'm Evan Palmer. I'm staff with WDC, and I'm here in 317.
Thank you. Let's go to Kelly.
You don't have sound, Kelly. Yeah, even with that. Okay. Anyway, that's Kelly Kitevas, Program Specialist.
Let's go to Riley.
Hi, good morning. My name is Riley Hager, and I am the Program Manager for Chaminade University's Prison Education Program. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Kanani.
Hi, Kanani Koster. I'm with Cherry Street Films. I'm one of the co-founders.
Thank you. David Miyashiro, please.
Aloha, everybody. David Sen Miyashiro, Executive Director of Hawaii Kids Can.
Wanel Kaneshiro, please.
Morning, everyone. Wanel Kaneshiro, Department of Education, Workforce Development Branch.
Thank you. And Erica Nakanishi-Stanis.
Aloha, Erica Nakanishi-Stanis from Hawaii Kids Can. Call out for the camera being off, so sorry. Just having some issues with it.
All good. Leah Diaz, please.
Oh, I don't know what's wrong with my camera either. Sorry. Hi, I'll figure it out. Leah Diaz, DVR Administrator, member of the Workforce Development Council. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. There was a guest here with no name, but that's okay. They are no longer in the room. All right. Let's move into today's presentations. The Youth Services Committee is committed to supporting diverse pathways for Hawaii's youth and young adults to develop meaningful careers. Today, we'll hear from two organizations doing innovative work in this space. First, we have Riley Hager from Chaminade University, who will share highlights from their recent Pathways to Meaningful Work Symposium. This work focuses on strengthening education employment pathways for formerly incarcerated individuals, including youth who have been affected by the justice system. Riley, take it away.
Thank you so much. I'll just share my screen here. Let's see. Oops. Okay.
We don't see your oh, there you go.
Oops. How's this? Sorry, one more minute. Let's try this. Can we all see that? Yeah? Okay. Thank you all so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and to share a little bit about our program and about the recent symposium that we had. So just a brief history, Chaminade University participates in the Second Chance Pell experiment, and a little bit of background on this. In 1994, a federal crime bill actually cut Pell funding for students who are behind bars, and the impact of this was the closure of higher education programs within correctional facilities. In 2015, the U.S. Department of Education reinstated Second Chance Pell, which brought colleges back into many prisons across the country, and this has expanded over the last couple of years. In 2021, Chaminade University applied to be a Second Chance Pell experimental site, and we started our first cohort. What this means for Second Chance Pell, for those who are unfamiliar, it's the same exact thing as a Pell Grant, so federal student aid, but it is specifically designed for those who are incarcerated. And so the Second Chance Pell funds cover student tuition. Like I said, we started in 2021 as an experimental site, and in 2023, we graduated our first cohort of students with their associate's degree in business administration. In May 2025, so this past May, we graduated our second cohort of students, and this cohort too will be the first in Hawaii to pursue their bachelor's degrees while incarcerated. So we're very excited about that, and we're also looking forward to starting our third cohort this fall. This is an example course plan of our AABA, and just the highlight here is to say that our students, our incarcerated students, are taking the same classes with the same rigor as any other Chaminade student would. Our Chaminade professors go in person to Halava Correctional Facility to teach classes and interact with our students there. So as you can see, it's 5 semesters, 60 credits, and that gets them to their associate's degrees. These are some photos of our most recent graduation. It was a very touching ceremony to celebrate the students' hard work and resilience. Learning in a prison environment comes with many significant challenges, but it was a really wonderful event to be able to celebrate the hard work of our students. We do serve an adult population currently at Halava Correctional Facility, and the ages range anywhere from young 20-year-olds all the way up to 50-year-old students. Some of them have been out of education for quite a while, and some have recently gotten their high school degrees and are excited to continue on pursuing their education. And we believe that having students be able to continue their education has really wide implications for communities and families. A lot of our students are fathers and role models to their children. And so for them to be able to graduate and to celebrate education was really moving ceremony. So we care about this because the recidivism rates across the country are astronomically high. Recidivism it depends on study to study, but it generally refers to when someone is reconvicted or rearrested post-release from a facility. So a couple studies here. The more recent one is the National Institute of Justice. In 2017, they found that of 650,000 people being released from prisons each year, within a year, over half of them are rearrested. And within 5 years, over 3/4 of them are arrested. And this is important because 95% of people who are incarcerated will eventually be released from prisons. So rehabilitation in carceral settings is really vital to improve successes of those who are incarcerated. And prison alone, this indicates, is not a good job of deterring future behavior that brought folks to prison in the first place. So we need other preventative measures and other solutions to be able to help communities, help individuals that are coming out of our prison systems. And we believe that education is one of those systems that needs to be employed. Research has consistently showed that participation in educational programming significantly decreases likelihood of recidivizing. There are many benefits to this. There's personal, success and the ability to stand alone in society. It strengthens the workforce and communities, saves taxpayer dollars. There are multiple studies that confirm that for every $1 spent on educational programs, $4 to $5 is saved in costs associated with crime and reincarceration. And we can see that the percent of recidivism drops per the level of higher education that someone can achieve, ranging here in this graphic from vocational training to a master's degree. And we also acknowledge that post-release employment is a significant challenge to those that are exiting carceral settings, along with housing. Those are kind of the two main things that people focus on when talking about successful reentry. Having a prison record has a large impact on post-release employment. It's way, way higher than the average or US peak unemployment in 2020. This is from the Prison Policy Initiative. And I'm more than happy at any point. I have links to all of these graphics and studies, and maybe I can put them in the chat maybe after I'm done, just for people to reference. There's a couple really interesting ones. So that's all background for our most recent Pathways to Meaningful Work symposium. And our focus here was to identify and build pathways for meaningful and sustainable employment for justice impacted individuals, specifically bearing in mind that our students have academic qualifications that they obtained during their time in prison. So this is just our agenda here. We had a lot going on throughout the course of a day. We brought together educators, workforce leaders, union reps, correctional professionals, community partners, nonprofits, a lot of different folks from a lot of different state and national partners. And with the aim is to start the conversation or continue the conversation and to strengthen education to employment pipelines for justice impacted individuals. We had keynote sessions, guided discussions, and collaborative working groups to be able to explore national models and how we can implement them into local strategies to improve reentry outcomes and promote public safety through the understanding that education and career opportunities lead to less recidivism and more success for individuals coming out. And we would like to specifically leverage the benefits of our program, which is a degree-bearing accredited program, and to leverage their academic skills increases their odds of employment. But then beyond that, beyond just having a degree, they need to be connected to employers, and they need to know what avenues they have to gain successful and sustainable employment. And this can be through career coaching, mentorship, support. You know, we offer on-campus student employment. Once our students are released, they can come to campus, they can continue their education, they can work. This is all just to kind of give them a grounding point to be able to have a place to go, a pro-social environment to continue their education and to build connections that can lead to sustainable employment. So just highlighting a couple of the sessions of the day, the purpose of the study here that was run by the Vera Institute of Justice and presented by Kelsey Chestnut was to determine what good jobs are legally and practically accessible for people with criminal conviction histories. And the goal of this is so prison education programs and reentry programs can align better with labor market demands and make informed recommendations to students about what career pathways are going to be sustainable and earn a living wage through. So they looked at national and labor market trends, and then they looked at legal barriers, and they did this state by state. So I'll put this the whole study is accessible publicly and is very, very good. They define a good job as those with projected labor market demands, growths, and openings in the next couple of years that can support a family upon entry level. In Hawaii, we know things are very expensive here. There's laughs around the room when they said that a living wage here is well over $100,000 just for an individual to afford to live here, which, you know, again, got laughs from the room. But post-secondary education requirement here is highlighted because they project in 7 years, a predicted 72% of all occupations will require a higher education degree of some form, including associate's degrees. So this is, you know, has implications for our program and prison ed programs around the country. There are over 750,000 people in prisons with a high school education. So the opportunity for higher ed in prisons it's a good opportunity, and it's one that needs to be invested in for the sakes of our communities. So these are directly from the study. They find that, you know, colleges offering post-secondary programs should design credential pathways that lead to good jobs and provide career preparation. So of the occupations that they found that met their criteria as a good job, this is them. A lot of you know, medical adjacent fields, health services fields that are growing and are lacking in, you know, that we need the labor support there. So this is what they encourage that students kind of gear up towards as they are in their college pathways. And we can see that bachelor's degrees, there are 44, good jobs, right? And this is not to say that there aren't way more jobs out there for incarcerated folks. These are just the ones that meet their specific criteria. And then also they talk about the differential between mandatory and discretionary barriers. These are the legal barriers to employment, background checks being kind of the name one that people look at. And if you have a criminal history, you are, in 43 out of the 134 jobs that they found that had jurisdiction level policies, 43 of them had mandatory and indefinite barriers to hiring. So moving on, another great person, Alan from the Vera Institute of Justice, he coordinated a panel of formerly incarcerated professionals, and they have been out of prison for a range of years now, but they all have successful careers, and they shared about their experience and the barriers they face and the supports that really helped them pave the way for that. The key takeaways here was recognizing incarceration as part of a valuable lived experience. I think as the national conversation shifts and we recognize that investing more into our prison populations is beneficial for everybody, this can be, something that is looked at as something valuable that people can bring to the table, not as, something that is stigmatized against, which is, a major barrier nowadays. People don't really know how to talk about their experience, how to share what they learned from being in that setting, but we hope to empower our students to be able to talk about their time in prison in the context of their education, the work that they've done, and the things that they, skills that they might have learned along the way. So the panelists all shared the power of mentorship and belief. They all kind of could point to one or two people that really believed in their ability to come out successfully and make a life for themselves and contribute to society. And that made a huge difference in their successful reentry. And then here we have Ved Price, who is the executive director of the Alliance for Higher Education in Prison. And the Alliance has pioneered really amazing opportunities. They've created remote employment opportunities for currently incarcerated individuals. So just to restate this, the idea is that currently incarcerated people can earn real wages while in prison via remote work. So they have people that they're coordinating with that are earning up to $30 an hour. Does anyone know how many, how much someone in Hawaii makes for work in prison? It's 25 cents an hour. So these guys are working 8 to 12 hours a day. It's voluntary, and a lot of them want to. A lot of our students also participate in work opportunities at Halava Correctional Facility, and they make 25 cents an hour. So the difference here, the implications of what VED and the Alliance are doing are huge. Imagine someone coming out with, $10,000 even in savings. They could buy a vehicle to get to work, right? It just opens up a lot of doors. They can pay child support. They can help contribute to their families who are at home and missing that income, right? There's a lot of community implications for this kind of thing, and it's brand new, and we're really excited about it. It's not happening here, but the idea is to bring in people from other states that could shed light on the work that is being done, just to start the conversation. To implement that kind of thing here in Hawaii would have really incredible effects on communities that are missing incomes from a parent who is incarcerated. So these are the key recommendations from the Education Action Implementation Guide, which was just right here on this screen, and this I can share as well. There are just really huge impacts for earning real world wages, either in internships or positions while incarcerated prior to release. Not just kind of the reaction type of style that we all kind of participate in right now, is that people get out and just, don't know where to go, don't have a place, don't have a job, and it's reactive, right? And so to be proactive and start the path to employment pre-release could have some pretty substantial effects on successful reentry. And then lastly, we had Dr. Chris Fanning, who is the Director of Programs and Risk Reduction from Kansas Department of Corrections. And Dr. Fanning highlighted a lot of really exciting strategic missions of Kansas DOC, and they have a really strong emphasis on legislation to boost reentry efforts. They have numerous workforce development initiatives, such as a career campus. So while people are currently incarcerated, they are all housed in a community where it's kind of like a like-minded community of people that are working and motivated to come out and make a difference. They've seen a lot of success with their education programs, and they've shared preliminary recidivism data that's showing really positive effects between education and post-release success. And notably, they measure post-release success, not recidivism, which is just a really interesting and important distinction, right? Because we measure recidivism as, you know, a bad thing, right? As something that just happens, but there's a lot of room between recidivism and post-release success. So that's what they measure. That's their standard, not just not to recidivate. And then we asked attendees, what commitments can we make to help improve outcomes for justice-involved students? And a year from now, how could our work be more seamless, and what 3 actions could get us there? And we got a lot of really exciting feedback. Folks talking about reviewing their internal hiring processes to see if there are ways we can remove these institutional barriers, these legal barriers, and to better understand licensing and other employment restrictions for those who are offering degree pathways and education in prisons. How can we expand degree pathways to offer more options for people, just that way they can also have some choice and some agency in what they want to pursue. Creating mentorship programs, those are really, really huge, and we would like to be able to bolster that within our own program as well. And continue work-based learning, financial management strategies. How can we help people make good financial decisions for themselves and their families? And then helping to provide housing and basic needs is always going to be right there. So next up for us, we are kind of still in the process of debriefing, but we continue to engage with the participants. And we had a poll that asked whether they would like to continue in a formal way to engage in conversation. This will likely look like quarterly meetings to develop some infrastructure and some pathways to meaningful employment for our college students, but also for all those who are reentering society. Like I said, 95% of them will come back into communities. And then a potential idea is just a career track, right? So we want to develop pathways for second chance employers. Those are those who are actively seeking or open to hiring those with criminal records. And that's all I have. That's the summary of our symposium. And I know that this council is youth oriented, and I would just kind of like to highlight again that of our students, I think of the 9 that just graduated, I believe 7 of them are fathers, and they talk about their children all the time. They're excited to share kind of what they're learning in school with their children. And I've met a lot of their wives and mothers at their graduation, and to see kind of the impact that incarceration has on families. It's generational. Some of them, their dads are also at Halava, right? It's something that we need to work on at some point, and we think that the intervention strategy while incarcerated is a good place to start, right? To kind of break that cycle of incarceration, and the benefit that has on families can be really impactful. So thank you again. I appreciate the time, and I'm very happy to answer any questions. I don't know if you guys typically do that here, but if not, please feel free to email me or give me a call. And I'd also love to share the resources and the studies that I referenced today, because they're pretty impactful.
Awesome. Thank you, Riley. Any questions from our attendees? Please raise your electronic hand if you have a question.
I think
Leah
Evan.
Davis.
Oh, sorry.
I had one. I had a question is like, what is the biggest challenge? Like when you guys do talk to the employers, of course, the obvious, the felony convictions, but what are the misconceptions that you see a lot that are like obvious, easy things that could overcome when you talk to employers?
Mm-hmm. I would say a lot of it is probably stigma. A lot of it is not even getting to an interview. Employers might look at a resume and see a gap, in employment, depending on the length of incarceration. And so we're working with students about, how to address that gap productively. But a lot of employers will see, a criminal record. If they do a formal background check, that can bar a lot of employment opportunities on an organizational level. So, we encourage employers to really look at their hiring practices and see, okay, what are these formal barriers that restrict people from even applying to the job in the first place? And then what we heard from our panelists and our speakers at the event was that a lot of times, their recommendation is that vague language is generally used in hiring practices just to limit the barriers to incarcerated people even or formerly incarcerated folks even applying. That was one recommendation that kind of came up again and again throughout the day. And also on the stigma piece, for employers to recognize that people who are incarcerated do have skills and motivations, and they are really wanting to work hard. They know what they have to lose. They come from a very unique background and perspective, and they're highly intelligent people. And a lot of times they're in a carceral setting due to a poor environment. They have parents who are incarcerated that they just never were really given that opportunity. And what we learned from the symposium is that just giving someone that opportunity to come in and to contribute makes a huge difference. So I would encourage employers to really just keep that in mind, and seeing a person's experience, even if it's an experience of being incarcerated, as a potential value add, a diverse perspective to bring to your team, and then the hiring practices on an organizational level, definitely.
Very cool. Leah Diaz, please.
Thank you. Aloha, Riley. Wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. And, thank you for the conference. I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but I believe I had some staff there. So I'm part of the State Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. You may be familiar with us. We work with a lot of people who were, formerly justice involved. I had a particular interest in a slide you showed earlier about occupations, top occupations. And I was just wondering if you could share that with me somehow, or share that with the group.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I can
Yeah.
also, I'm happy to share this whole presentation.
Okay.
I'm also happy to share a lot of the visual components that I had on the slides. I have the links to where those came from, so I'm happy to share those as
Okay.
well for the full context of the study. I can do that in the chat, or I can email.
Just email Evan,
Yeah,
and
great.
then he will
Okay.
distribute it to everybody.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you so much.
Very cool. Any other questions?
Riley, quick follow-up to a bit of what Evan was asking. Is there a list of the employers or agencies where, having a justice background is an immediate barrier? So I'm just thinking about, I used to work in the DOE as a teacher, and I imagine that's probably one of the more difficult assignments. So just wondering if there is any kind of list out there.
I don't think that there's a comprehensive list, partially because the type of conviction also plays a significant role, whether it's a federal offense or type of offense will bear certain people from certain types of jobs. And so you can see how the matchups would be very complicated. So there would be a lot of different lists for a lot of different types of offenses. There is a new program. Actually, we're very excited. The correctional system in Hawaii just got a kind of a technology upgrade, and the students now have access to this site called Honest Jobs, and they are able to put in their offense type and then see that spits out some jobs that are accessible to them. It's a little bit of a vague, not totally detailed platform. It kind of just says like what types of jobs, but then it goes down to the specific employer. And if it's a specific employer, they might have their own specific hiring practices. But at the state level, it should be pretty, standard across the board. So I'm not sure what it looks like from their perspective on that, but I do know that that is a new resource that they've just gotten access to. So I'm excited to explore that a little bit more with them. I think it's getting better, the data-driven approaches and the data surrounding reentry and what jobs are accessible to people are getting better. So I will say that. Progress is slow, but yeah.
Copy that. Executive Director, and then I've got a question.
Riley, I'm kind of curious whether, I know this is what, a 2 or 3 year old program for Chaminade, right? And I know, pretty much you've really shepherded this from the get-go. But to what extent are you doing outreach to other organizations that are similarly inclined? Like, I know that there's like a group, Kawailoa, that's trying to eliminate juvenile incarceration using Hawaiian values, for instance. So to what extent do you have interaction with those, and are you bringing them into the fold so that it becomes a more concerted, more cohesive approach?
That's a really, really wonderful question. I think personally, what I've learned since being in this role is that it really takes a village to ensure the successes of people coming out. It takes a lot of different folks from a lot of different organizations. Chaminade being a private entity, we're working with the state entity, but then our students are going into halfway houses and public entities or nonprofits. So it really takes a lot of different folks working together. And this symposium was kind of a first effort at that. This is the first symposium that will be an annual symposium, but the first time that we're getting folks together to engage in this conversation with us. And of course, our priority is our students, but we're hoping that it can have broader impacts for everybody that is coming out of carceral settings. I would like to see our program work more with nonprofits that are instituting, cultural practices, and specifically with the youth correctional facility. I know that, that it's a whole kind of different system that's working there, but it's not unrelated. And we do have goals to expand to other correctional facilities, such as women's and the Arizona Saguaro Correctional Facility, where a lot of inmates from Hawaii get moved to because we don't have the capacity here. Also, the minimum security facilities, I know, integrate a lot of cultural practices, and they do agricultural programs and other things like that that also lead to more sustainable jobs post-release. So anyway, that's all to say is that this program is new, like you said, and right now we're kind of getting things going in a consistent way, but I think that is on the horizon for us to be able to bridge pathways. And if we do expand to multiple other correctional facilities, more students, more folks of ours will be being released, and we want to develop a plan for them, right? It's going to be on an individual basis, of course, but we need to be able to work with other people closely so that way we can have the best outcomes for our students. I'm not sure if that entirely answered your question, but I think the newness of our program is it's underway. We're kind of going along with things, and also funding continues to be a question mark. It's hard to plan long term when you're unsure of what the funding environment will be, but absolutely would like to partner closely with nonprofits and people that are as motivated to do the work and support our students as we are.
Well, I wish you well. I know this is that first big hurdle, and you've been over that, and I think the best is yet to come.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I kind of answered my question too. One of the other questions that I had was, so when these incarcerated workers are in paid internships while still incarcerated, just as like from the union side of me, how are their wages processed and accessed? Does it go into their commissary? Do they have like access to an account? Is there someone that's monitoring the account and ensuring that they're getting paid properly? Like how does that all work?
Yeah. Great question. Just to be clear, that's not happening in Hawaii yet. That would be awesome if it were, and that'll be something that we can maybe strive towards, just because the outcomes of these people have, again, very new programs, but are showing to be very positive. Again, I'll send Evan everything, including this study, but what I can remember from talking to Vet about it was Maine was the first state that they implemented this with. And they are working very closely, of course, with the facility themselves. And then how I understand is that students are paid, they go directly into savings accounts, with some proportion of that going into commissary, and then also some portion of that going into restitution funds. A different state, I can't remember which state it was, but wanted a higher amount of that earned income going towards restitution funds. So the Alliance for Higher Education in Prison actually helped use grant money to supplement that income. So that way the worker was actually earning what they said they were going to be earning, but it was actually more because some of that was being taken out to go back to the state. So that's on an employer to facility basis. The Alliance themselves have employed a number of workers now, and now they are in the process of bridging other private corporations that are open to this sort of thing, and bridging them with workers and coordinating that. So that's what I know from memory, but I'll share it all with you, because it's a whole guidebook, and all the information is there. It's very interesting stuff. It's a great idea.
Very cool. Last question. I'm thinking about the before and after. So what are the prerequisites for incarcerated workers or interested parties to participate in the higher ed program, aside from high school diploma or equivalent? And then afterwards, like how often are the check-ins, or not spot checks, but how much how much energy is put into follow-up to ensure, like, from the 2023 cohort, is it like an annual follow-up, a monthly follow-up to begin with, and then like over time as they progress in their careers, the follow-up check-in meetings are spaced out longer? Like, what does the before and after look like?
Absolutely, that's a great question. From the first cohort, we only have 3 that have been released, and post-release, it tends to be hard, no matter what you're studying, but just this population, it is more difficult to track over time. Of the 3 that have been released, all 3 are still taking classes and working towards their bachelor's degrees. One is in person here on campus. The other 2 are doing our remote learning options, and working. And I think one has moved to the mainland now, but with his family. But so he's still taking our flex course options and working towards his bachelor's as well. And then the goal is that they'll qualify for regular Pell Grants for students once they're released. So the follow-up period, we would like to be able to have evidence-based practices, and that involves tracking before and after. That's something we didn't really have the infrastructure to do with the first cohort. My position didn't exist at that time. We just got the funding through the Mellon Foundation to have my position, to have another support position. That was my original role here at Chaminade before moving into the manager position. So now we kind of have some more eyes on this program and some more ability to do this data work and tracking, which we're excited to do with our next cohort. One of our graduates from cohort 2 will be out in time for fall to continue with classes on campus, which is very, very exciting. So again, when we have more students, we'll have more students being released, and we would like to develop check-in periods, an alumni network. These are the ideas that we have floating around, to be able to ground them to the Chaminade community and make them feel proud of being part of that, and that they always have a home here, and to encourage their continued education if they haven't already finished, and to always be in touch, right? That's the challenging part, is remaining in touch with people. But the idea is that they're educated, they're working hard towards a successful reentry. So hopefully the tracking element of that will be a little bit easier.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we now have Kanani Foster from Cherry Street Films, who will present on creative careers and youth empowerment through film. Hawaii's creative economy continues to grow, and Cherry Street Films is doing remarkable work nurturing the next generation of filmmakers through hands-on programs across the state. Kanani, go ahead.
Hi, how's it? Thank you, Evan, for inviting us to speak. It's very exciting for us. I'll just I don't have an amazing PowerPoint or slideshow like Riley does, but we'll get through it. I have a video I can have playing later, but I'll kind of go into our background at Cherry Street Films, Northwest Film Camp. We started in 2015, so 10 years ago now, which is very crazy to be saying out loud. It was started by me and my partner, Travis Coster. And we started this as a completely mobile operation. We'd seen back in 2015 a lot of other digital storytelling and filmmaking workshops and programs being made, but we weren't exactly happy with the curriculum that often focused on like cinema and also this idea that anyone can do it with your iPhone. And we really felt like that wasn't the most equitable or accessible way to do things. So we started this with the idea that we would come into schools, partner with different organizations and nonprofits, and we would be bringing gear such as DSLRs and cinema cameras in with us to work with students to allow them to tell their own stories, just so that they're able to bring these technical skills out of this program rather than trying to use phones or anything like that. And it gives them a better leg up when they're applying to colleges and all of that. But that's kind of our background. We started in actually Washington State, where me and Travis went to college together. We worked with all kinds of different nonprofits, also charter schools, public schools, to create programs that really fit whatever their needs were. I mean, we even worked with wastewater treatment, which was funny. They have a youth program, and they worked with us to kind of create a curriculum that would help their program. So basically, while their students were learning about all of these new jobs, they also were learning about filmmaking and able to make a small docu-short about their experience through the program. So we're very adaptable. We've always been a smaller organization and trying to meet the needs of whatever student population we're trying to work with. So we started working mostly with schools, nonprofits. We started doing summer camps, which has been mostly the work that Travis does now. He's actually not able to be here on camera today because he's actually teaching in Bend, which is where I am, for the next 2 weeks with him. And then we've also started doing Teen Lab, which is a more remote program that pulls different students within a city together. They work via Zoom together over 6 months. It's completely free to create a higher level short film for students. It kind of gives them more opportunities to be mentored by professionals who are working in the field for cinematography, screenwriting, all of these pieces. And then at the end of the program, they come together and they actually shoot their film that they've been working on for a much longer period. And actually last year, one of our students and her team, Ellie, who actually grew up in Honolulu, which is funny, even though she's in Seattle now, they actually won the Nifty Award for Best High School Short Film. So that has been a very cool experience for us. And this last month, we finally got to come back to Hawaii, or at least for me, it's coming back because that's where my family is from. And my dream has always been to actually work here. So we did a Honolulu film camp. We partnered with Kumau Productions, and we worked with about 15 students. Our focus was on really reaching out and finding Kanaka Maoli kids and also Micronesian students to fill a lot of those spots. The program was completely free. It was about 5 days long, Monday through Friday, and it's like a mini film challenge. We're throwing the kids in, they're learning very quickly and on the fly, and by the end of the week, they have a film. And I'll just share my screen so you at least have something to look at besides my face for a little bit. But yeah, this is kind of just while we go through it. But yeah, basically we worked with Kumau Productions to come up with this curriculum, working with these 15 students. We did it at Entrepreneur Sandbox. And, we had 15 students. Usually teams are about 5 kids in a group. They start the week coming in with some ideas. They pitch to everyone what they're thinking would be a good idea for a film. And we really work with them to understand how to use public speaking to get their ideas across, because that's like a really important skill for these kids to have. And then from there, they start to form groups based on their interests and their skill sets. And we really want to make sure that everybody is getting a chance to try all of the different jobs and not just the idea that there's only a director. So we really focus on teaching kids how to use sound, how to become cinematographers, all of these pieces, screenwriting, and obviously editing, of course. We bring in mentors from the community that are professional and amazing. I think some of you might already know some of the people in this video, but we had like my friend Aaron Lau come in, and Bryson Chun and Gerard Elmore, of course, came in too, who was working quite a bit with a very specific group of students who starred in his and Sunny's last film together. And so I think for those kids in particular, it was very exciting for them to come in and not be in front of the camera, but to control the narrative of their own story and come up with something that felt close to their heart. Though their short is amazing and they're also very proud of that, and it also speaks to them. But they did a music video this week and they were very excited and happy about that. But yeah, we really think it's important to bring in professionals who are working within the community that reflect the students in the program. We want them to understand that film is a job that they can do. I know for myself, it was not something that I felt like was accessible to me as a high school student. I never thought that I could be doing this work that I am now. And so with this program, we want to really show them the many different opportunities that are out there for them to get involved, that it isn't just being a director. There are so many different job positions that they can do, and bringing in all of these amazing colleagues and friends really is a big piece of that, and also allows them a lot of mentorship opportunities so that they stay connected with them as they're coming up and can help out on these bigger sets whenever they come back around, all that kind of thing. But yeah, we also, again, bring in the gear. We work on usually Canon C300s. We really want to showcase students and their work, but also allowing them an opportunity to get their hands on gear that they can like put on resumes for colleges, and also using Adobe Premiere. So they're not just using iMovie, so that they have skills, again, that are transferable at a higher level. And then the last piece of our program is just making sure that it's free and really work. And that's a big piece of it, is how we find and work with different nonprofits who are already doing the work. It kind of ensures that we're pulling from the right communities who actually need these opportunities. I know we put out, Kumao did a great job of helping us fill the camp. So did Gerard over with the Ohina Showcase Lab, which I went to recently. So yeah, that's a big thing, is just really finding the right students who need programs like this. I know when we had posted it on social, we had some, mainland kids who obviously had rich parents who were like, oh, we can come vacation and do it. And we're like, what are you, get out of here. This is obviously not for you. So we're very aware of pieces like that when we're trying to create programs. But yeah, that's kind of what our programs are about. We really believe in teaching kids collaboration is key. We know that a lot of that's why a lot of families are excited to send the kids to camps like this, because it isn't just individual storytelling. It is really working together as a team. And I think collaboration, as we all know, is how you get films made nowadays. But beyond that, any creative field and any job in particular, you need to know how to work with people. And so that's a big piece of our program that we're very proud of, as well as the idea of like mentorship through these other professionals who've come in as well. And yeah, so that was the program. We did just 1 week. It was our first year here. It was a pilot program. We're really excited to look at doing it again next year in a very similar way. So we're just going to be starting on fundraising and looking at the grant process. I know we all are very aware of the current landscape of funding and how it's dried up quite a bit or in flux. So we're just trying to be flexible, also looking at smaller private donations essentially as well, since the program is smaller and we're able to run it at a smaller budget compared to some other pieces, because we are mobile, we already have the gear, and we are really trying to make sure though it is accessible for students, and also sometimes bring in lunches for youth who don't have that. So anything we can do to support them. But that's kind of all I have to share today, and down to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you so much. So I'm not only the Youth Services Committee Chair, I'm also the president of IATSE Local 665. I've worked in film and TV for more years than I care to count. I think I've been in the game for 24 years now, which is wild to say out loud. Oh my God, I'm so excited. There's so many things that I want to say, but before I jump on, does anybody else have any questions before I start running my mouth? Sweet. So, do you have any lighting elements like grip and electric or any of the other jobs? So I've seen a lot, at least in that clip, of camera and sound and editing. Are there other aspects that you've been exploring of like costume development, design and development, hair and makeup, props, or grip and electric? Any of
Great,
those?
fun question. I think, again, because we work with usually youth 11 to 17, with this program that we did in Honolulu, we kind of like focused less so on lighting, sadly, because, you know, for students, it becomes a lot more technical and a little less fun, especially within a week's time. In
Right.
the past, especially programs like Teen Lab, we do bring in like it's been really cool to bring in mentors who can speak to that better, and they basically find a student who is very excited to actually learn about lighting and maybe even become a gaffer one day, and really work alongside a gaffer to help light the scenes. So when we have the longer programs that are, say, 6 months long, in which there is a lot more development with rehearsals, with looking for more trained professional actors, then us like kind of pulling in those more specific roles has been fun for mentorship opportunities. But for usually the week long, we sadly try to keep lighting at a minimum. And
Makes sense.
yeah, but it is a lot of fun when we do get to bring our gaffer friends in. And we also, yeah, props and hair and makeup is always kind of on the students. So it kind of varies week by week, especially for like the summer film camp weeks. Sometimes we have one kid who that is obviously their passion, and we're like, look at this job you could do. And they like come in with this, like, they're pulling things out of their parents' closet for costumes. And you see that passion ignited in them. So
Mhm.
it really just depends on the students that week. So I think that's like, again, a big piece, a big strength of the program, but also sometimes what you see is lacking in one week in particular. You're like, wow, they really could have worked a little harder on costuming, but it kind of just is a little bit of luck in terms of who we have in that camp that week, who wants to
Totally.
take that on.
Totally. I only say that because there are so many different crafts in film and
Mhm.
TV, and cameras awesome. There are like 2 dozen like solid, consistent camera workers that I can name off the top of my head over the course of all of the many projects that come through. But there are so many other people that are in there. So if there's ever a time, I would be so excited to run the C-stand class for them and like
Oh,
not
please.
work and lighting and diffusion. Oh my God, salivating over here. Love Gerard, love Tai Sanga with Kumao. Super good folks to bring in. If you speak with Gerard and you do want to do a grip lighting class, there are resources that are available that we can sidebar for like really small mobile grip packages that all fit into one van. That's a whole thing. And set building, I think, is a little advanced for them, but oh my God, so exciting. So you've had one film camp recently this summer?
Yeah, it was the first week of June. My dirty confession is I was actually not able to attend, which I was pretty devastated about because I had to go to Tribeca and pitch for the feature that I'm working on again. But Travis was there, and like again, Ty was too. And it was just really wonderful to see the community really come out. Bryson, of course, and Aaron, everyone just really came through. And Sunny, they were picking some of those kids up who needed rides in every day. And I know Gerard was paying out of his pocket to pay for your kids' lunches. We were trying to pull in more money last minute so we could help cover that as well. But it was very special. And I'm still devastated and very excited for next year, in which I will be there and not going to miss out.
Hit me up. I want to come play.
Perfect.
Got resources, got food peoples, got craft service, all that fun stuff. Can do. Anyway, I've taken up enough time. And Troy, it looked like you had something to share or ask.
Oh, yeah, just wondering which where did the students come from? Do you know which schools they came from?
That's a good one. I don't have the schools off the top of my head. You know, it's funny. We actually even had a girl coming from Molokai, and she was staying with her family. So she flew in and stayed the week with her grandma so she could do this program. But we had schools from all over. We were aware of, we were trying to not overlap too much with the school year and making sure that they had started summer. So I don't know off the top of my head, but I can look at our sheet for the applications and see, because I think they did have to list what school they were attending.
The only reason why I bring that up is many of our schools actually have film and media programs or a digital design or a fashion program at their school that might relate to the camp that you're doing, and just kind of crossing over the skills that they've been learning into a pathway that might be offered at the high school level, that or a program of study that they might be interested in pursuing that for that type of career in the future. So just interested to see how we can link what you guys are doing to what is being offered at the high school level, and possibly even career exploration at the middle level.
For sure. And again, that's like how we definitely started up in Washington, was like focusing on schools and working with them to build the curriculum that they already had in place. And yeah, so I'm excited to look at this school year and see what we can pull off. So if anyone has any connections or people they might want to make introductions to, we are always down.
I know someone with the DOE, if that helps.
That's good.
So
Sorry,
I put in the chat the link to, you can see which schools and what programs they have. As far as in the pathway is cultural arts, media, and entertainment. So you can take a look at that when you have a chance, just to as a starting point.
Connie, this is Winell Constro with Troy. If we can get your contact information, I'd like to continue the conversation as well. I don't know how to raise my hand. Sorry, Tui.
All good. All good. It was basically a call out to you anyway, so it's all good. And that's my contact info in there. I want to come play. Hook me up.
Love it.
I get really jazzed about passing on this information to folks, like of the career pathway, of like the ways that I got into this, and the fact that it's helped me build a raise a family here, buy a home. Like I get to raise my kids where I grew up, and that's meaningful as far as concrete benefits of what storytelling and helping people play make believe and dress up for a living. It's the concrete benefits of it, passive benefits of storytelling are that, you get to control the narrative of what people see regarding your area, your culture, your history. I am very passionate about this, if that was not abundantly clear. Yeah, hit me up. Here's my contact info.
I think it makes such a big difference though for kids, especially when we bring in our mentors. We always kind of do like a highlight, like at least 30 minutes for them, where they kind of go, do exactly that. They go through their like history, how they got started. And I think that's like the biggest key for so many of these kids is like, they know the name Christopher Nolan and they're like, well, that's impossible. And it kind of is, because that guy was rich and had rich family members, but showing them like, there are unions, there are different jobs. You can be a director. Look at Erin Lau and how she's come up and is still working here. Yep. And so I'm very excited, and this will be perfect.
And there are viable opportunities for folks to not just a living wage, but a thriving wage. And you don't have to be like a department head. Like you don't have to be a director or a camera operator to make it in this business. By make it, I mean thriving wage, raise a family, buy a home type. So exciting. Thank you so much. Any further questions? Seeing no further questions, thank you for that. We will now, excuse me one second. I'd like to now introduce WDC Executive Director Bennett Masalucha to give her updates.
Thank you very much, and it is exciting stuff. Thank you for the presenters. I too want to play dress up someday. Is there a program from? No, I'm kidding.
There is. SAG-AFTRA, Screen Actors Guild and American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. SAG-AFTRA.
Okay, thank you. But I'll keep my day job because I don't think I will do well in that other one.
You
But
never know.
anyway, I'm gonna have Evan share my slides. And again, apologies to those, particularly our board members like Leah, who's here. Always need extras. Yes, David, that's the best I could do. But this is a report or a presentation that you've seen probably multiple times, but we do this for every committee meeting because we don't know who's in the room, and there may be some who have not heard it. So just wanted to make sure that people are aware of the comings and goings and the initiatives that WDC is pushing forward. So as you know, we are in the midst of implementing our unified plan. It is on target. Tomorrow, we're having our Synergy Summit 2, and it's going to be from 8 to 12 at the Honolulu Community College. We're truly excited about that, and we're hoping we are going to be rolling out our North Star or our Hawaii generational commitment. That is finalized and that has been vetted through the various folks. So we're excited about tomorrow. Go ahead, Evan. So this is just a timeline that tells you what we were wanting to achieve, the milestones. So midpoint, we have the July 2025, which is tomorrow. And then, but the next milestone is in September, where we're having, hopefully, the proclamation of Workforce Development Month and the unveiling of the North Star for the rest of the public. Go ahead. So this is a snapshot of the demarcation lines that we're working on between Workforce Development Council and Workforce Development Division. So we have the delineation still being sorted out, but we're hoping that we will be completing this process and an MOU will be executed by the third quarter of this year. Go ahead. So these are some of the highlights I wanted to just flag. I mean, you can read them at your leisure, but I just wanted to flag that we're developing new website functions. We are reorienting the board of directors page. I think you'll be happy to see that. And we're also in the middle of planning for various events, including, go ahead, Evan, next slide. So our focus for, here you go, upcoming events. We have a webinar opportunity with Strata Foundation that's forthcoming, I think July 25, but more to come, more information to come. And just to let you know, Future of Work Conference is September 24th. So I hope, and in that I'm also doing an early plug for Workforce Development Heroes, which were the recipients of whom we are hoping to award during the Future of Work Conference in September, on September 24th. So again, watch for that, because if you know of anyone in mind who has gone beyond the call as far as workforce development, that is the way to recognize them. Thank you so much, Chair. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Bennett, are there any questions or comments at this time on the updates? Cool. Seeing none. Announcements and constituent comments. At this time, the public is welcome to announce upcoming events and comment on relevant issues that were not included in this meeting's agenda. Please be advised that in compliance with the Sunshine Law, the committee cannot discuss or act on issues that were not included in this meeting's agenda, but issues raised during this period may be included in a future agenda for the committee's consideration. We ask the comments be limited to 2 minutes each for each speaker, just in the interest of time. Kelly, go ahead.
Can you guys hear me?
Good
Yes,
check.
okay. Just a reminder that this committee has been invited to Kawailoa for a site visit and learning tour. So you folks, if you don't have the invite, you can maybe email Evan, or if you have my email, me. I don't know, should I say anything about Kawailoa, or
Yes,
are folks
sure.
familiar?
Riley,
so
that might be a good opportunity for you to go.
yeah, so they are working on an 8-year Kellogg Foundation grant under Partners in Development to end youth incarceration in the state. And I think they're looking beyond the state too into other areas of the Pacific. So we'll get to visit 3 site partners that are working. There's like a sustainable farm that's doing vocational training, another site that does like mentorship and job preparedness, housing, and one more that I'm forgetting, but it's 9:30 to noon this Friday. Yeah, let me know if folks need the invite or information.
I would
Very
love
good.
that. I would love that personally. Thank you.
It's wonderful the connections that are being made here, even as we speak, Chair.
Riley,
It
if you
is.
have any other staff or cohorts that would like to come, just let us know.
Any other announcements? All right, seeing none, give you 20 minutes of your life back. Thank you all for your participation. There being no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 11:39 a.m. Thank you all very much.